Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in, guys. We'll be starting in the next 2 to 3 minutes and wait for others to join as well. But thank you so much for joining in on a Saturday evening. Good evening, Sohail. So, guys, we'll start this at 5:35. Meanwhile, you can start introducing yourself. Like, I can see your names, but where are you from? What are you doing? Like, if you're a law student, you can use the chat box, not the Q&A. Just use the chat box. What is your name? Where are you from? What are you doing? It'll be nice to have an understanding of who you are and where are you from. Guys, the chat box has been enabled, so you can use the chat box as well. But great, thank you so much for joining in. Thanks for your introduction, guys. We have Sohail, who is from Calcutta, Rama is from Andhra Pradesh, and she has a non-legal background. So I think in today's webinar, of course, we'll be seeing many non-legal enthusiasts here who are interested to know more about NFTs. So great. Hi, Ashika. Awesome. Hi, Glory. Hi, Utkarsh. Awesome. Great. Hi, Prachi. Hi, Neil. So Neil is into technology consultancy and working in blockchain space. Great. Great to have you here, Neil. Great to have you here, Suhasini. Awesome. So it's like we have a combination of law students, professionals working in the legal tech industry, and of course, the non-legal aspirants as well here today. Amazing, guys. Hi, Soumya. Great. Hi, Sampurna. Amazing. I love the enthusiasm here. Love how you all are introducing yourselves. Um, all right. So, guys, let's get started. So, we have here today a legal Web3 expert. I would rather frame Mr. Chandan Goswami. I would welcome you all wholeheartedly for this unique legal tech webinar, which is very first of a kind Web3 related webinar that Lawctopus Law School has conducted. And we are thrilled to see so much participation in this particular webinar. I mean, it's unique. There's so much demand for legal professionals in this space, and intellectual property rights, NFTs. I know it's so confusing for so many of us. NFT indeed has become a buzzword, right? But what about our legal rights in it? What about our intellectual property rights when it comes to NFT? We're all in a state of flux. We're all confused. But I hope today all your questions are answered. Stay tight. I have few instructions for you. So guys, we have a surprise for you towards the end of the webinar. So stay tight. I mean, I suggest that you all stay tight till the end. I know it's 1.5 hours. Get your chai, get your coffee or a water bottle or some snacks, and let's get started. Guys, if you have any query, if I'm not audible, if the speaker is not audible, if the screen is breaking, just put it on the chat box. However, if you have a question, use the Q&A box. So Q&A box will be only and only used for a question. And guys, we'll be taking the Q&A session. So it'll be a live Q&A session with Mr. Chandan towards the end. Again, stay tight. I know you have a lot of curiosity, but all your questions will be answered toward the end. It's up to you whether you want to, impromptu put the question in the Q&A box or save your question and use it in the Q&A session towards the end. So I'll just introduce the speaker right here. So Mr. Chandan Goswami is basically a Delhi-based lawyer and is the managing partner of TYT Partners Advocates and Consultants, again, a law firm based in Delhi. His consulting area broadens globally with clients from Europe and UAE in the areas like blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and of course, NFTs. His firm handles arbitration, criminal and commercial litigation, and general corporate work as well. He has also built a legal structure in the Web3 domain by providing various legal services to several Web3 entities, both domestic as well as international. But Chandan's area of interest are criminal, commercial, technology laws, Web3 laws, and the list goes on. He likes dealing with complex and fascinating legal questions and advising clients on how to best deal with emerging and disrupting legal tech scenarios around technology. Apart from that, he passionately pursues various pro bono cases and divides his time judicially to ensure that his firm's resources are used for the cause of justice and liberty. And now Chandan has also evolved to become a legal tech mentor. So thank you so much for joining in, Chandan, on a Saturday evening and giving us your valuable time. Over to you now.
Thank you so much, Ashna. It was a wonderful introduction. I mean, I'm overwhelmed by the participants we have today, and it's absolutely great. And it always feels very great to talk about the Web3 space, the emerging NFTs, the IPRs, and the legal structure, which is gradually evolving. So even if if it was on a Sunday, I would have gladly come and I would have gladly be, addressing all the questions and answer questions that you have and share all the knowledge that I have. It's community, and Web3 is a very tight community, and which we all know we like to share our knowledge. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so by now you all are aware of my name and what I do. I'll skip that part. I'll just give you a brief introduction of how I came into the Web3, the entire Web3 domain. So I started my firm with two of my colleagues in the year 2020, just a month before the pandemic hit us all. Unaware of the pandemic, we started with our general law practice. And sometime in the month of, I think, March, again, just before the pandemic, I started reading about blockchain, just in general blockchain, what the tech is and how it is, shaping other industries, what the tech is actually bringing on table for people like us and all those things. And I got very curious to know and to do a more in-depth research about how can blockchain basically help the legal industry. So that was the beginning when I wrote an article with a colleague of mine, and we got it published in a leading web portal, online leading web portal, titled "The Legal Uses of Blockchain and How the Legal Industry as a Whole Can Benefit from the Use of Blockchain Technology." Of course, at that point in time, NFTs were either being invented or somebody may have, started making a lot of inventions around the NFT projects, etc. But I was not very much aware of it. My entire attention, my entire focus was researching about blockchain, researching about how cryptocurrencies work, and then again researching what laws can possibly be in place if such a technology was to evolve. Considering it is a borderless economy we're living in right now, what are the legal regulations, what are the compliances, etc., which we as, blockchain founders or blockchain entrepreneurs, Web3 entrepreneurs basically need to comply with. My research gradually took me to NFTs, and my firm then started, advising and consultation basis pay. We started giving out our expert advices to various Web3 entities, both international and domestic as well. And for the past 6 to 8 months is the time when we actually came into the picture and we started providing our consultancy services, our legal drafting services, and the others. And litigation part in India, it's not yet developed. So there is no Web3 litigation, which at the moment we are seeing, but you never know. It's happening all over the world. It may soon happen in our country. So that is how my journey in the Web3 space came into being. And I am a firm believer that in this age and this particular technology, we need to work with engineers. We need to work with people who know the tech in and out. So I like to call my team, the team which I work with, who are my tech gurus, I like to call them legal engineers, because it is they who teach me how the technology works. It is they who teach me the intricacies of the tech part, and then leave it up to me to figure out what the law says, the existing laws, of course. So that has been my journey so far. I'm continuing to evolve. I'm continuing to research and do a lot of development in the NFTs and in the cryptocurrencies and in the blockchain sector. That I think is something which I have to do it because this area is a very fast developing area. In 6 months, something can change, something quickly can happen. Nobody knows. So in such a fast-paced world, it is very important to continuously stay updated with whatever is happening in the tech part, with whatever is happening in the legal part. A year ago, there was not much requirement of lawyers in the Web3 space, but today the scenario is gradually changing with NFTs, with the IP rights involved in NFTs. We are constantly seeing that more and more cases, not in India, of course, in the western parts, in the eastern parts of the country, the world, there are cases, there are court cases going on, there are several IP infringement cases going on. And now people are getting a little more sensitive about their legal rights and what rights can they possibly have, or documentation which they possibly have, which can ensure that their legal rights can be taken care of in the longer run. And specifically, if I talk about our country, India, so I have observed it in the past maybe 8 months or so. People have now started becoming, or they aspire to become, more legally compliant, more regulatory compliant with whatever existing legal structure that we have. This was not the scenario if in the year 2021 till December. In fact, not even in January 2022, when I first went to a public Web3 meeting. Yes, there were tits and bits, and there were little legal issues, which is basically the regulatory agencies coming over, asking you questions and all those things. But now things are gradually changing, and we are witnessing an evolution in the entire tech and the legal area. And it is very important to stay legally compliant. It is very important to stay, not just stay and just legally, very important to basically be aware of your rights, rights as a creator, as a buyer, or as a marketplace, or whatever it is. So as to prevent any, mishappenings or so. So that is what we have been doing at TYT Partners, which is my law firm. And that is what we aspire to continue to do, continue to help as many Web3 entities as possibly we can. So with that, let's begin with discussing what NFTs are and what are the IPR rights associated with NFTs. I will share my screen with you guys so you all can see what we have to offer.
Yes,
okay.
We can see your screen now.
Okay, perfect. So let's begin. This is me. You can hear a little bit about me over here. Ashna, of course, has given a detailed introduction of mine, which I couldn't have done. So thanks to Ashna, I couldn't have done it, or very honestly. So this is NFTs. This is an overview of an NFT. So we'll go very slowly. We'll go with the basics. Then I'll also give you the most basics I can do with the tech part. And then we'll go a little deep into the legal part. Okay. So beginning with having a basic overview of NFTs, to those who are not aware, what NFTs basically are. So consider NFTs as a unique software program, which is so unique that nobody else can copy it. Okay, it's so unique that only one of a kind exists. Compare with the rare piece of diamond, say a Kohinoor, something like that. It is rare. It's only one of a kind. So you cannot, say take any other diamond and say this is a Kohinoor. No, you cannot do that. Similar thing is with an NFT. It's unique. It's one of a piece. It's stored and is protected on the blockchain. Blockchain is basically a depository. It's like a bank locker, which all the lockers you can see, but you cannot change or touch any locker unless and until you have the specific key to that particular locker. So similar thing with the blockchain. You cannot touch, or you cannot, go ahead and change anything unless and until you have your registered keys or your login ID or whatever that is. Okay. What you can have with NFTs is basically anything which you have in the physical form, which can be converted into a digital form. You can convert it into an NFT. It can be an artwork, it can be a song, it can be a music, it can be a painting, it can be a video game character, it can be an airline ticket, it can be a movie ticket, it can be coins, it can be anything. So whatever you can digitize, you can convert it into an NFT. It is very helpful to basically determine the authenticity, to know the ownership and the transparency details of that particular artwork. Here, I'll tell you what actually happens is in NFT, because I just explained it is so unique that nobody else can, basically go ahead and copy that particular NFT unless and until they, take some extra wrongful means basically. So it will stay unique. And any NFT which you make and which you put it on a marketplace, it goes on in a blockchain and everybody can view that particular NFT. They can view it, who is the author or who is the creator of that particular NFT. They can determine the authenticity of that particular NFT. They can determine how transparent that NFT is because everything is on a public blockchain ledger. Anybody from anywhere around the world can go and visit that particular NFT, take out the details, do a bit of due diligence and find out from where this particular NFT, the underlying artwork is and how this NFT has been created. Anybody from anywhere around the world can do that. That is how transparent and that is how authentic an NFT becomes. Of course, there are several bad actors. There is no denying that. But in general, NFTs are, very transparent and they're very authentic. So there's a saying that who needs trust if you can find out the truth. So this is something where you can find out the truth and you don't need to trust anybody to basically guide you to find out the truth. You can find it out yourself. Basic in effect, the underlying principle of NFTs are that they are basically a smart contracts. Smart contracts are basically a computer program where you can code anything that you want and put it out. So for example, if I'm talking to you right now on Zoom, so consider this as a piece of technology and consider this as a piece of smart contract. So it has been coded in such a manner that we both can see each other and I can talk to you, you can talk to me, you can type, you can do everything. One of the basic examples of a smart contract is a vending machine in which you put a rupee note or a 10 rupee note and it gives you the equal amount of whatever goods or whatever, packaged food or whatever you require from that particular vending machine. So that is the whole and soul of a smart contract. That is all happens with NFTs. You can write anything, you can encode anything in the smart contract, be it how the sale purchase has to be governed, be it what will happen to the royalty after you sell the NFTs. And this is something which cannot be changed. You cannot, if you buy an NFT, you cannot go ahead and change the smart contract of the NFT because it is already there. It is already done and dusted and it is already on the blockchain. So now if you have to change that particular code in the smart contracts, you will have to go to the chain, that is the blockchain, and there make the changes. Of course, it is not that easy as it sounds, because to do that, you will need the consensus of all the members present in the blockchain. And it is a difficult task to get, so forget about it. It's absolutely unique. You cannot change it. Once you get it, all the terms governing the smart contract, that is the NFTs, you get that too. All the smart contract is yours, the NFT is yours. Most of the NFTs are basically right now governing only the sale and purchase of the of the NFTs. Maybe in the coming future, we might see certain other terms and conditions being incorporated in the smart contract itself. Right now, it is not possible because there is a gas fee which you have to pay to, basically make an NFT, and the gas fee will keep on rising the moment you increase or start making more and more changes in the code. So these are the basics of NFT. These are the most common uses as far as possible as on date, which NFTs are being used as on date. So the particularly artworks, songs, videos, tokenization of real world items. You can create digital identities, medical records, medical credentials. You can ensure authenticity of products, which are basically electronic products or clothing brands and something like that. Aura blockchain and Clothia are the two major Web3 entities who are into this business. You can also verify your academic credentials. Nowadays, if you take a course in blockchain from any recognized university, the certificate that you may get might be stored on a blockchain in the form of an NFT. So you can verify that academic credentials by just visiting that particular chain, a particular area, where this your academic credentials are stored, and anybody from anywhere around can verify that okay, this person has obtained this course, so there is no cheating. In physical form, it is subject to some or the other form of naughtiness. Okay, in virtual and in the gaming and the virtual gaming area, that is the metaverse, there are many users of NFTs. You can create your own skin. Those who are gamers, you can create your own skin. You can create loot boxes and all those things in the entire virtual gaming area. Ticketing, there have been many instances in which you are given tickets in the form of NFTs to enter into a Web3 event or something like that. This can also extend to airline tickets. This can also extend to many other forms of tickets to ensure that it is authentic, it is transparent, and there is no fraud committed in that particular ticketing area. Tracking, of course, artwork can be easily tracked through using various means and methods. You can do your own due diligence and you can track an artwork using an NFT. Fashion industry is again one area which is emerging and which is using NFTs, to basically secure their rights. Nike, Gucci, and all those big brands are using NFTs to secure their rights and to prevent their products from being, uh, protecting the counterfeit of their goods and basically their clothing pieces. So that is how the fashion industry and the gaming industry and the other industries are using NFTs as on date. In the medical industry and in the health sector, there is a emerging tech which is working on linking blood banks with NFTs to ensure that every detail is provided within that particular blood bank or within that particular blockchain which the blood banks are using. It's being developed, and in the coming few years, we may see few health tech communities or few health tech companies coming up with such medical records or coming up with such NFTs, which will basically provide all the details regarding a blood bank. So that is something which is happening, and these are real world usage. Uh, of course, there are many other usages. For example, recently a UK court allowed summons to be delivered via NFTs. So that's something which is also happening. Of course, all this requires a limited amount of gas fees to be paid that we will discuss later. Okay, so now the common uses are done. Okay, so this is something which I think all the people who are not from the tech background and want to mint an NFT and have a question in their mind that how difficult or how easy is it to mint an NFT? Minting an NFT is not a very difficult task. There are marketplaces known as OpenSea and Atomic Hub and all those things where you can easily go and mint your first NFT and put it on the marketplace, maybe possibly sell it, maybe possibly just keep it as your own memo. Okay. So how do you do it? You go to a marketplace, you set up your wallet, which can be MetaMask or any other wallet that you have. And then you can connect your wallet to NFT marketplace, put some money in your wallet to basically fulfill the requirements of the marketplace, create a work, create any kind of work. It can be artwork, it can be music, it can be anything. Fix a price for that NFT and just press a button called create. That process is called as minting. You pay a gas fee and your NFT starts getting minted. You put it on the NFT platform for sale and it will be visible to everybody on that particular blockchain. So anybody can come and anybody can purchase that particular NFT. Of course, if they want to purchase that particular NFT and if they are interested in particular NFT. This is a pictorial description of how to basically create an NFT. This is from OpenSea. You go to the part where it's create, you press create, then this is something which comes. And over here, there's this starfish made. You can put anything that you want. See, there's image, there is video, there is audio, there's a 3D model. You can put it over here. You can give the name of your NFT. This external link is where you basically have the underlying original art form stored. Remember this point, original art form. Okay, this is going to be very important for this entire discussion and in this entire webinar. You describe what the NFT is, then you put it either in collections or whatever you want to, and then you put a price tag to it. It can be on Ethereum or it can be any other blockchain that you want to use. And then you put it in the marketplace, and then people will come, people will buy it, and then you will become super rich. Now comes the most important part, which NFTs are being plagued with as on date, are the copyright issues. Copyright issues there are several. That is, who has the authorship, who's the owner of this particular NFT, what rights do you get when you buy an NFT, or what rights do I transfer if I am a creator of an NFT? What licenses do I need, or what is licenses actually in NFTs? What happens if I go and infringe anybody's copyright? What is the remedy against that? What are the moral rights? Moral rights basically are the rights that किसी और का सामान मत चुराओ. Don't steal anybody else's work. Okay, these are basic copyright issues. Before we get into answering these particular issues, let's first basically understand what the present copyright mechanism and what the present copyright law as on date is in India. So we know that those who don't know, copyright basically automatically arises when there is an original copyrightable work. A copyrightable work is something which has to be basically an original work, and it can be copyrighted. Copyright these are the works which basically can be copyrighted, which the section 13 of our Indian Copyright Act tells you that these are literally work you can copyright. You can copy musical work, you can copy your dramatic work, artistic work, cinematographic films, which is movie films and all those things. Sound recordings are basically MP3 music and all those things. So these are all stuff which you can copyright. Okay, and in artistic work, you can also include architectural designs. You can also include a structure of a motorcycle, or a structure of a mobile phone, or even a structure of a pen, if that's permissible. It has to be expressed through a tangible medium of expression. This tangible medium of expression means that if I am talking to you right now, this is tangible, and other people can either listen to me or see me. Okay, so any copyright that you have, any work that you want to get copyrighted, should be in such a way that other people can either see it, view it, hear it, or basically take a note of it. So these are all things which you can copyright. What you cannot copyright is an idea that you have in your mind. Unless and until you put it on paper, you cannot get it copyrighted. Okay. It is very important. It only grants protection to an original work. So if tomorrow you go ahead, you click a picture of or already copyrighted work, minted as an NFT, you will not get any copyright protection for that particular NFT because it is not an original work. Somebody somewhere might have taken a copyright of that particular original work. So you are basically infringing that person's copyright. Don't do that. Not a very advisable thing to do. Even a small amount of original work is protected by the copyright law. It can basically be a design that you have that you are making, and you want make a very beautiful flower, and you want to get that flower copyrighted. You can get it done, even if it is a minute amount of work that you are putting in that flower. That flower is subject to you getting a copyright on that flower. Yes, you can do it. Of course, there are other legal stuff involved in it, but it is in theory possible. Okay, fair use is permitted in copyright. Fair use is basically you, or anybody clicking a picture of a well-known photograph, say a painting of M.F. Hussain, a well-known painting of M.F. Hussain. We click a picture of it. Of course, we make an NFT out of it, and then we put it out on the public domain, not for having any commercial rights on that, but only limited to making a report out of it, criticizing it, or using it during any kind of judicial proceedings. These are the places. Of course, there are other few places as well where you are basically permitted to use an existing copyrighted piece that comes into the definition of fair use. You can do that subject to you coming under the ambit of fair use. Take a picture, criticize it, comment upon it, show it to people for your research and development work. Even a movie clip you can, or even an entire movie you can have, and you can show it to a gathering of 10 or 15 people only for the purpose of research. And that research purpose needs to be defined what actually is the purpose of your research. Otherwise, it will just basically be piracy. Don't do that. Not an advisable thing to do again. So fair use, of course, permitted. Click a picture of a very tall building, or click a picture of a very famous painting, mint it as an NFT, put it out for the general public to view. Do not sell it. Just put it out for the public to view it, and maybe criticize it, have it for your own personal use, uh, store it on some chain which is your own personal chain, and you can just flaunt that you have clicked a beautiful picture of this particular painting or a particular scenery or something like that, and put it out over there only for the limited purpose which is under the ambit of fair use. If you do anything else apart from that, if you try to commercialize it, if you try to gain any commercial advantage out of that particular thing, it will be an infringement of the person's copyright. Okay, now moving to the next slide. Okay, answering the questions first. Basically, authorship. Who is the author of the particular NFT? Of course, whosoever is creating that particular NFT is the author of that particular NFT. Only the NFT. What about the original artwork? Now, just like I mentioned, if you click a picture of something which is already there in existence, that particular picture, somebody might have, got a copyright on that. Of course, if the copyright expired, that's a different thing. But if there is an existing copyright on that particular picture or a song or a video or anything like that, the owner will be the person who has a copyright on that particular picture or the particular artwork or the particular music or literary work, which is specified over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any of the 6, if somebody has the rights to it, then this person will be the natural owner of all these rights. And if you copy it and make a NFT out of it, that might lead to a copyright infringement. Okay, for the non-law people, I will explain how you can avoid this. But for the people who are aware of the legal part, people who know how this thing works, this is something you cannot do. Okay, now what happens in case of joint ownership? If there is a collaborative work, who will be the author? Either define it by an agreement which you have between all the members, or put it on the NFT itself, make a smart contract, put it out in the NFT itself, so that whenever the NFT is sold, everybody gets an equal share out of it. These are the two ways in which you can manage the joint ownership or the joint authorship of that particular NFT. Again, in this, we are only talking about the NFT. We are not talking about the original work. Original work, the ownership or the authority over the original work will only stay with the person who has created it. If you are copying it from somebody else and putting it out as an NFT, you are not the owner or the author of that particular artwork. You are only the creator or the owner of the particular NFT. Okay. Here is a very interesting question for you all. Who becomes the author in case of a work which is generated using artificial intelligence? We are aware of many artificial intelligence software nowadays in which you can put a picture of somebody and write few things how you want it to be, and that AI will give you a detailed or a very descriptive image, which will be completely new and nobody could have even imagined. Recently, I was speaking to a client of mine, and they generated a picture through AI of a well-known Bollywood artist. And their question was that, is it an original art form? Because of course the photo is of somebody else, but the entire structure which I have generated from the AI is limited and is my own. It's my own understanding. It's my own creativity. So who becomes the author of that particular artwork in case that artwork is generated using artificial intelligence is something which you guys can explore. I am also exploring this. Once I find an answer, I'll tell everybody about it. Okay, now, like I was saying, ownership prevails over the original artwork as well as the NFT. Once you buy an NFT, you become the owner of that particular NFT and not the original work unless and until it is specified that this is an NFT which I'm giving to you. And once I give you the NFT, you also become the owner of the underlying original artwork, wherever that underlying original artwork is stored. which is basically stored off server and sometimes on server and sometimes on the blockchain itself. But all this, involves a lot of cost. So the prevalent practice is storing it somewhere on the internet and then generating an image out of it and putting it on the marketplace. Uh, this is basically called as IPFS. You guys can read more about IPFS, how the entire thing is stored, where it is stored, how is it stored, and how it is, got as an NFT. Of course, if you are completely making art or a song or anything in your computer or in your system itself, then you will have the art form basically stored on your laptop or your system or whatever you're using. But if there is an existing art form which is already there, drawn by someone by hand, so you will have to basically first create a digital image out of it, store it somewhere, and then put it on the NFT marketplace. You have to go through all these steps, and then only you can have a marketplace set up and then you can put it on the marketplace. Of course, you will have to again store the file somewhere in the internet. There are many IPFS servers where you can basically store the data. Yes, you also have to be a little more careful about where you're storing the data. So it is always advisable to have a hard copy of it before you go ahead and store a data. Hard copy means you can also store it on a pen drive or you can store it somewhere on the internal servers, etc. Okay. Now, ownership of the original work, either it rests with the owner, or in cases it goes with the platform, or in some cases it goes with a group of people. I'll explain this portion. If you are an original creator, I am a musician, suppose I'm a musician and I am preparing a music by my own and I want to release it, I become the owner. Now, if I am an NFT platform and I commission somebody, an artist, a well-known artist, to make an art for me, I will have to get into, or maybe that artist will get into, if it's a very well-known artist, then the very well-known artist will get into an agreement with me that who is going to be the owner of that particular art. Of course, if I, as a platform, NFT trading or NFT building platform, I'm going to spend a lot of amount for that particular art form, I will want some of the ownership, intellectual.
Hi, Chandan. We're not able to hear you.
Am I back online?
No, we lost you for the past few seconds.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's much better.
Okay. Can you still see the PowerPoint? Okay. So we were on the last part, that is the ownership of the original work. With whom does it rest with? It either goes with the owner, if I am the owner, if I am the one who is basically building the entire thing, building the artwork or making the music or making anything. So I am the owner. I am going to take all the ownership of that artwork. In some cases, it might also go to the platform. If as a platform, I'm investing a lot of money in a particular artwork or in a particular music, I am commissioning the artwork or I'm commissioning the music. So I will, of course, want to retain some of the other forms of intellectual property rights in my name. Of course, something or the other will be there. It might happen through an agreement sort of a thing, which I think is a good step to do. Otherwise, it can also happen on the basis of trust. That's up to the platforms. It can also be divided between a group of people, an original art form. I collaborate with 7 or 8 people on a particular music video. I can, or whosoever are in that particular community or in a group, can then decide who gets what amount of percentage or who gets what amount of ownership rights once that particular art form is put out on a NFT marketplace. So that is how the entire ownership structure gets divided. I'll just briefly go through the entire authorship issue. In case you are the absolute owner and you are the creator right from the scratch to putting it out on the marketplace, all the copyright, intellectual property right, etc., will be in your name. If you are the co-owner or you are, or it's a joint authorship, it's a joint venture, it will be divided amongst the participants equally, or as the case may be, depending upon what percentage or what kind of work one team member is putting. This question, the third point, is something which I'm trying to figure out, and this can also be a very good homework for everybody. So you guys can also take it. Ownership, of course, it prevails over the NFTs as well as the original artwork itself. Once you buy an NFT, unless and until it is specified, you are only the owner of the particular NFT and the rights that come with an NFT. Okay, there are numerous rights which come with an NFT, which we are going to discuss in the latest. Ownership, again, we have explained the copyright domain. Now, how do you transfer your ownership from one person to one? Usually, NFTs, they do not transfer any kind of ownership. They only transfer the benefits associated with an NFT, or they only transfer an NFT and the ownership of an NFT to the basically the buyer. So if tomorrow I buy an NFT, I need to do my own research. By research, I mean I need to be aware of what value does that NFT particularly bring on the table. In most cases, many NFTs will give you a certain underlying value. The most famous case of the Board Apes Club is that they give you exclusivity rights and membership rights to their exclusive events. So that is something of a value which, when you spend a lot of money to buy the particular NFT, you get that particular value. In many other cases, if you buy an NFT, maybe that NFT will give you a little bit insight on what is happening, in the platform, or it might give you certain bonuses to a restaurant, or maybe something like that. That depends upon the NFTs to NFTs. If you are buying an NFT, say for a Indian cricket team, if they are releasing an NFT, so once you buy an NFT, you might get an exclusive right to whatever is happening inside their dressing room or inside whatever their major discussions are. So you can get a sneak peek of that. So there's a few cases. These are not the only cases. So there are other cases as well. So always research that when you are buying an NFT, if you're not getting the ownership of the underlying artwork, what is it that you're actually getting? What value is that NFT bringing on the table? Okay, transfer of ownership is again limited only to the NFT and not to the original work or the original asset. It can be transferred from the NFT artist to the buyer only by way of a written agreement. NFTs, yes, there is a particular token through which you can transfer NFTs, and the copyright of the NFTs, it's called ERC1190. It's basically a token to transfer the copyright of the NFTs, but as per law, it will not meet any legal requirements, because when you transfer a copyright from one person to another, it requires a written agreement entered into between the parties. You can codify it in the NFT itself, that once you transfer the NFTs, all other benefits, the underlying copyright, etc., anything under the sun will be transferred to that particular buyer, but it will not meet the legal requirements unless and until it is supplemented by a written agreement. That's the basic of the copyright laws. Okay, you can transfer all the rights, you can transfer anything right from the scratch to the top to minting procedure, anything using basic simple licenses. Now, what those licenses are, it's basically a legal document spelling out all the rights and obligations of the parties. For example, to make it more simpler, for example, if you visit a website, you go and read their terms and conditions. That terms and conditions, they basically spell out and in detail what are your rights and obligations once you visit the particular website. So NFT license is basically a legal document which has all the rights and obligations of each and every party. It creates a lot of legal certainty between both the parties. What you should include as a lawyer or as a NFT platform or anybody in the licenses is how do you manage to protect the rights of the parties of your artist, as well as give the users the flexibility to enjoy the NFTs. So let's be fair over here that if you are buying an NFT which is costing you over a million bucks, You are not going to just buy a digital form of art and keep it somewhere in your laptop. You're not going to do it, or you're not going to keep it somewhere in your mobile wallet. Okay, nobody wants to do that. That person, whosoever the buyer is, must have a certain flexibility to commercialize it, print it on their t-shirt, print it on their cap, to flaunt it that okay, they have this particular NFT and they can use it in some way or the other. That flexibility needs to be provided to the buyer. Otherwise, this basically become obsolete after a few days. The license terms, which is basically the sale purchase, the royalty in case the NFTs are being resold in the marketplace. Who gets that? It can very easily be coded into a smart contract, and it can also be put out separately. The best way is to code it into the smart contract, put it out on the NFT marketplace, and then gradually substantiate it with a written agreement, which you can put it somewhere on your website or anywhere you want, which basically must point out to that particular NFT. You cannot say that, okay, my NFT is on OpenSea, but the terms and conditions are somewhere in Twitter. No, don't do that. Have your marketplace, put it out on the marketplace, have your terms and conditions over there itself, in these NFTs itself. Or you can have a separate website. You can link both of your NFTs as well as your website IDs into that particular NFT. Mention it somewhere below. You can view this website for detailed terms and conditions, so that you will have a basic legal structure as far as possible. Again, there is no legal structure governing NFTs as on date. There is none. There are bits and bits here and there, but no particular legal structure to prevent all these things. So these are all existing laws which you tweak according to your needs, according to your satisfaction, and make the best use out of it. That is the basic use of the licenses. Now, how do you as a creator identify with what kind of licenses that you might need? Or as a buyer, what do you think when you are buying an NFT? What all things that you might need? That's the next slide. From the creator perspective, purely from the creator perspective, uh, and as a creator, I am trying to refer it to you entering into a commercial agreement with a big marketplace or a group of people who want to start their own NFT marketplace. Okay, you can enter into NFT license agreements from the perspective of your economic and intellectual property rights. Say you're just basically an artist, you don't know how to code, but you do know that these are your economic rights and these are your IP rights. The coder in that NFT platform may forget to incorporate the economic, or may forget to basically put into the code the sale purchase governing your particular NFT with the platform. Here you can use your intelligence, make a agreement form of the thing with your lawyers and put it out over there, so that everybody can know that these are your rights and these are your obligations. This is one way to protect your economic and intellectual property rights. The best in everything into a smart contract itself. That way, you will save a lot of time and a lot of effort as well as a lot of legal cost. But to protect your IPR rights, it is advisable. It is a very strong suggestion that do have some legal written documents in place. Incorporate several key, legal clauses in the intellectual property right agreement or any agreement that you have while selling your NFTs, so that your rights are protected. There is a instance I have stated over here. You can refer to this. This is not absolute. You can change it anytime you want. You can modify it. You can, while issuing an NFT, give total commercial rights. You can restrict all the commercial rights. You can ask, you can basically mandate the seller to limit to a certain 100,000 or certain amount of money to which they can exploit your commercial rights for that particular NFT, exceeding which will again transfer all the amount or all the rights to the NFT owner. basically the NFT creator, whosoever is creating the NFT. All this can be written as well as codified into the smart contract itself, while basically while creating an NFT. Uh, these smart contracts and coding all these things into the smart contracts comes at a very higher stage when you are making a very specific NFT. For basic NFTs, have a legal written document, because there is a lot of gas fees involved, which will not be a good thing to pay just because at the very beginning, where you are starting out with your first NFT projects, unless and until you have that kind of resources to spend, by coding everything into a smart contract itself, and then you will not go by the route of OpenSea, you will leave it into the smart contract itself. So these two things you can do. This is the best way right now, save your cost on the smart contracts and have all these things written down in a legal contract governing your NFTs. It is legally mandated, it is legally binding on whosoever purchases that particular NFT. So here it is over here. It can be limited to non-commercial use. You can read this. It's a very basic clause which you can have in your agreement. Of course, you can expand it or you can limit it depending upon your usage. In case there is a breach of these terms, you can adopt judicial measures, or you can adopt other measures, which is basically speaking to a platform and taking down that particular NFT from being resold or something like that. Everything you can mention in the agreement itself. A legal agreement is beneficial. A written legal agreement is beneficial for the simple reason that you can also include stuff which a computer wouldn't have even thought. Say, if there is a incident of fire and the smart contract has not been enabled to think or act when there is a case of fire, what happens to your NFTs? You can codify it in the legal structure, in the legal agreement that you have. One use, or if there's a force majeure case, what happens in that case? If you don't have enough money in your bank account, or if something or the other mishappening takes place, the future context which the smart contract cannot imagine or that code cannot imagine, that can be put into a legal written agreement. And there is, of course, measures which you can adopt if there is a breach of these agreement, these terms. Again, while dealing with the marketplaces, the creator must be aware of their commercial aspects, their royalty payments, and all other forms of revenue sharing, etc. While if you are a creator and if you are in this webinar right now, you have to be absolutely careful that the work that you are creating is an original artwork and does not violate an existing IPR. If you do that, either the marketplace will take down your NFT, you will lose out on all the gas fees that you have paid for that particular NFT, and you will also be subject to IPR prosecution. So it is advisable to think and make something of your own. Do not copy it from somewhere. What you can, as a creator or as a marketplace or as a platform, can do while putting out an NFT on sale, is that you can have all these 4-5 small points in your, either in your smart contract or in your agreement, which we have already discussed. You can just read this. These are few things which you can do. Just an example. This is not absolute. Now moving on to the next part, what the buyers must know, that if the NFT is original or not, how is the NFT made, or is there an underlying digital asset that when we are buying something, is it the only NFT that you're buying, or you're buying the digital asset itself? How do you determine that, whether it is an original product or not? You do your own research, you check the metadata of an NFT. There's a procedure involved to check the metadata of an NFT, which we can take somewhere, I mean, sometime else in some other session. But you must do it, because there are a lot of stolen artwork floating all around the marketplaces. And suppose you buy a stolen art form, unaware that this is a stolen art form. You pay a hefty amount for that, and tomorrow the marketplace gets to know that so and so NFT was stolen, or so and so NFT, you know, has been prepared using some fraudulent means. That marketplace might just take it down. Once that marketplace takes it down, you lose all the benefits that you have with that particular NFT. How do you determine
Chandan, sorry to interrupt, but your internet is intermittently cutting off.
is it better now?
Yeah, I mean, your voice just lags. I don't know why that's happening. Maybe you can stop sharing the screen if that works.
Let's see if this is this
No,
better. Can
let's
you guys
try
hear me
like
now?
this for the next couple minutes and see if this situation works better.
Can you share the PPT if you have it?
Yeah, sure, I will be able to do it. Just give me a second.
Okay, perfect. Am I audible to you guys?
Yes,
Is the voice lagging?
no.
Okay, perfect. You can go to the slide of the buyer slide somewhere. Slide number 16, I think.
Okay, is it this one?
No, the next 16. Page
16, okay,
15. Yeah.
okay.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, perfect. So how do you basically do your own research? You verify the metadata. You verify whether this artwork is stolen or not through checking the metadata of a particular NFT. Once you know the metadata of an NFT, you can basically track down where this particular art form is stored, in which IPFS server is this art form stored. Once you find that out, you can ascertain whether this artwork is stolen or whether this artwork is not stolen. When you are buying an NFT, be very sure that if you're buying an NFT, a particular NFT, or you're also buying the underlying digital asset, or what other rights are you buying? If you're buying it from OpenSea, explore that. If you're buying it from any other marketplace, do read their terms and conditions governing the sale purchase of your NFTs. Okay. So yeah, when you are buying an NFT, do read about the founding team, do read about the roadmap, do read about the utility aspect of an NFT. They should also have an aspect of utility beyond just owning the NFT, which we have discussed earlier. You of course read the marketplace terms and conditions. In this place, if you are thinking that there is a very well-known saying in this play in the Web3 industry that code is the law. In NFT, when you are having an NFT and you're launching it on a marketplace, the platform is the law. The platform has the rights to do anything with your NFT. So do read very carefully about what your rights are when you are buying NFT from any marketplace, be it any NFT, 1,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, lakhs, crores, any NFT. The marketplace has the right. They can just one day decide to pull down all the NFTs and you will lose everything that you have in the NFT, the utility aspect, the any other aspect, the commercial aspect, anything. Of course, you can go ahead and sue them, but do read the offer terms and conditions carefully to understand what your rights and what your obligations are. Now, moving on to the next slide. Oh, you have the control. Okay, so unless and until it is absolutely stated, you are not the owner of the NFT underlying art form or the underlying asset, unless and until it is absolutely stated. This is from the Indian aspect. Section 19 of the Copyright Act compels you to have a written contract explicitly stating that this particular copyright of an underlying asset has been transferred to you. Unless and until that is present, do not just assume that just because an NFT platform is saying that we are transferring the copyrights to you means that they have transferred the copyrights, commercial rights, the rights to do whatever you want to with that particular NFT. Do not assume that it will not happen. There is a particular law which will come into place once this happens. Okay. So, okay, like I've said, unless and until there is a particular press, restriction, resale, copying of the NFT, that action cannot be prevented or cannot be accorded any kind of protection. The digital item, of course, it is protected from any illegal copying or from any illegal, for the users, commercial users, or other forms of exploitation. That is basically your NFT, which is you have some copyrights to it, but the underlying asset, no, you do not have it unless and until it is explicitly provided. Okay, now, okay, we can go to the next slide. Yeah. Now, what happens if actually somebody's copyright is infringed? This is one of the most biggest example which we can possibly have is Miramax suing Quentin for violation of the NFT of their copyrights. This pertains to a movie called Pulp Fiction. We know that Quentin recently planned to launch all the internal documentation which he had pertaining to that particular movie. Miramax said that no, I am the owner of it, and Quentin cannot do it because he's just basically violating the company's IPR. But this case is going on before the US. If anybody wants to know, if anybody wants to have an access to the documentation filed by Miramax, I can share it with you guys. You just put it out there in the question answer section or the chat section. I'll share the link. You guys can visit it and you can read how and why Miramax is suing Quentin. Okay. Now, this is something which is a developing area. This case is before the courts in US, and there we might see in the couple of months or couple of years how the entire IPR structure evolves around the NFTs in the US. Now, what happened in China is that they handed a first of a kind judgment in which they have held that this particular NFT has infringed the rights of a trading platform. In this case, they ordered a platform to delete the NFT and pay compensation to the plaintiff whosoever brought the suit for infringing the existing rights of the NFT owner. What happened in this case is that this is basically the marketplace. Okay, so I made a NFT and I put it out in the marketplace. Tomorrow, somebody found out that this, particular NFT is actually my artwork. That is that person's actual artwork. The underlying asset belongs to that particular company. That person went, they told to the platform that, see, something like this has been happening. Please take it down from your platform. The platform said, no, we don't have any responsibility. We cannot do it. That person went to the court. That person told that, see, this is my underlying art form, and this is how the entire thing has happened. And the platform is being completely unresponsive, and they're not doing anything. So what the court decided, they went through all the contentions of both the parties, and they came into the conclusion that actually there has been an infringement, which has, actually infringement coupled with the fact that that particular NFT is there on that particular marketplace and people are buying and people are selling it. That's something which prompted the court to basically figure out that, okay, there is actual infringement of the IPR rights because this person is right. This person has the ownership of the underlying asset. He has the copyright of the underlying asset, and that person is not going to remove it. So they directed that NFT platform to remove it, and they also directed the NFT platform to pay the person whose right has been infringed. So these are the rights which have now been placed upon the marketplaces, that is basically the intermediaries, to fix some kind of responsibility onto intermediaries itself. Now, of course, like I said earlier, most copyright disputes are resolved by the platform, which by removing the NFTs from the marketplace. But this is not absolute. This is, you can sell it in the dark net. It's very easy. So, of course, securing your NFT and the underlying art form will give you a lot of rights for suing the company or suing the person who is creating an underlying NFT. Okay. Ashna, can you please have the next slide? Okay, trademark. Again, it's very much similar to the copyright space, but a little different because it basically protects all the symbols, phrases, designs, names, etc. Apple, Nike, Amazon, all these are well-known symbols, all these are well-known names. So you cannot just, tomorrow build a new phone and say, and promote is like that it's an Apple. Apple has the trademark for that particular name, the logo and everything else. So what happened in this case, infringing the trademark of a particular company can also lead to a prosecution. There is an ongoing dispute between Nike and Stocks. Stocks says that the NFTs are not the products of Nike because it's a digital product. Sorry, it's not a digital product or a digital asset, but these are basically tickets which are linked to an underlying asset, and that asset is stored in a vault, which is a surprise. So how is Nike claiming that this particular NFT is Nike's own trademark? Because we are not doing something like that. We are just basically issuing tickets. It is not an asset, and it is not even a digital product. Nike's case is that they are making a digital product and they are linking it to our they're using our trademark and our logo in it, therefore violating our existing trademark. So this is also before the courts in US, and we might in the near future see how this entire case is coming up. Okay. The next case, well-known brand Hermes, their bags, Birkin's trademark. Everybody knows this. This person, Mason, and this is a very famous case. He basically made a NFT called as Meta Birkins, and he put it out on the marketplace using this Birkins as Birkins and the bag as well, promoting it as his own artwork. And of course, Hermes came to know about it. Hermes said that, Birkins is our trademark, you cannot use it. And this person, Mason, he's challenging it. He's saying that I can use a famous trademark in connection, a famous trademark, only that particular trademark or that particular work of art does not directly infringe any of the rights of this well-known trademark. So here, Mason says, relying upon a Supreme Court judgment, that yeah. So Mason says, relying upon a Supreme Court judgment of the US, he says that I am using it only as an art form to promote goods or services, which is not anyway linking to the Hermes brand, and it is only my original art form. Of course, this is subject to, again, whatever the courts decide, but these are the very famous cases which are in the NFT market, NFT ecosystem, and there are many more, but we have a dearth of time. But otherwise, we could have gone on and on and on and on. This is all international perspective. In India, we haven't seen any such case as of now, but it is not to be assumed that nothing like this will come to India. It will some or the other day. Okay. NFTs can also be termed as securities. It's an assumption. If it falls under the ambit of SCRA, then trading in an NFT will be considered illegal. Again, derivatives are something whose values are basically derived from an underlying asset, and many NFTs are, clearly come under as, they look as if they are securities. So this is also something which may in the near future be explored. Okay. So can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, that's it. So that ends our brief discussion. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, you can feel free to post it on the chat box. You can also speak to Ashna. You can send us any emails if you want to. Over to you, Ashna. She has a special surprise planned for you guys. Please do stay
Yes.
over here. Don't go.
Thank you so much, Chandan. So, guys, I'll be taking your 10 minutes with like a small surprise for you. And we'll be taking all the questions that you have put in the Q&A box towards the end. Also, Lord, one more surprise coming in. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen, guys. Just give me a second. Awesome. 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 Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So guys, thank you so much for joining in today's webinar. And on this similar light, we at Lawctopus Law School are offering this course on technology law. So indeed, now with this webinar, you're in two boats. One, you're up for technology law. Two, you are not for technology law. And I must say that if you're in the second boat, you should definitely listen to me, because I'm going to persuade you to take up technology law as a course. So guys, little bit background about me as well. Like, I'm sitting here, but I've done my LLM, my master's in law and technology from Canada, and I bring in my international exposure towards this course. And this is one of a kind of a course in India offered at such price. This is a 2 months journey where I will be with you. What is the mission? Informed and inspired careers. Now, why technology law, guys? As you can see, there are so many startups coming in India. There's so many technology firms coming in India. As you can see, lawyers like Chandan are transitioning from criminal or corporate practice to technology law practice. And the best part is, if you're a technology lawyer, sky is the limit. You can find clients from Europe, UK, UAE. I mean, there is no foundation or restriction, because all these firms are working remote. They're working, maybe few firms will be on Web3, maybe few firms will be virtual. So these companies will need a legal advisor. And who will that legal advisor will be? A person who has a combination of a law degree and an expertise in technology law. So guys, let's see what exactly we're going to do in this course. So we will be learning different legislations in the domain. So, technology law is indeed upcoming, but there are already so many existing legislations that are existing in the Indian system. We'll be talking about that. Then we'll be talking about the fintech part. So I know fintech is something that has been pertinent in India for the past 2-3 years. But do you know that in the past, post-pandemic, there have been 2,500 plus fintech startups in the country? Meaning, if I put one lawyer in each fintech startup, that's demand for 2,500 lawyers upfrontly. We'll be also talking about cryptocurrencies, which is the much awaited topic. And that is something we'll be also talking about. How can you advise your clients on cryptocurrencies? I'll be talking about privacy and data protection. I know few of you have huge interest in privacy, and we all know that our country is in the flux when it comes to privacy. We don't know what's happening. We're not applying GDPR. The law has been withdrawn from the parliament. So what's going on is a flux, but it's really important for every law student or every law graduate to understand privacy is very important. And this is where technology law comes in. Guys, maybe today technology law is not many people will hear about this. But in a way, we all are technologically sound. Law, like post-pandemic was the world when court went digital. So isn't that technology law? The lawyers were fighting the case digitally. Isn't that technology law? Of course it is. However, it's important to understand that technology law is beyond digital world. It's understanding the legal part or legal aspect of these disruptive technologies. So we will be talking about blockchain, artificial intelligence, drones, etc., etc. But apart from that, I know few of you also have interest in media and entertainment laws. So we have inculcated a module and live sessions on media and entertainment laws. So our country is one country which is highest in social media usage in the world. So we need to understand that there are so many laws, or there are so many content moderation laws, policies, regulations that comes in when a social media is developed. I mean, companies like Meta, or LinkedIn, or we don't know what kind of data they are using. We don't know how they are structured. So it's important that us who are lawyers or legal practitioners or legal policy makers to frame laws in a way that these social media entities or intermediaries are well structured. So this is what we're going to do. Also, guys, this is a small news, but we'll be adding more modules. I have personally developed a module on NFT, metaverse. There's a module on relationship of blockchain and law. And apart from that, I also have inculcated a module on the philosophy of technology law. I know it may sound very boring to you all, but guys, it's super important to build the foundation first. I mean, most of us already, passed our law schools, but you know that without knowing the basics, it's very difficult becomes really hard to know the main on technopolicy, meaning we'll be talking about the policy side of technology laws, like how can you frame policies around this. Am I audible, guys? Okay, awesome. So guys, this is basically our technology law course. Now touching upon the intellectual property rights course. This is another course, guys, that has already been kickstarted. And what is the idea behind this course is to, we are living in this era of startups, inventions. Um, every now and then new copyright is created, new patent is created, and this is a new country. Like if you see, we got our independence in 1947. It's been, it's been a, I mean, it's not that we're, I mean, I agree that India is an old country, but when it comes to an independent India, art, culture, it's it's super new. So a lot of people don't even have legal knowledge of what is intellectual property rights, whether it's trademark, whether it's copyright, whether it's patent. So with this course, we will be giving you an understanding on, learning basics of intellectual property rights and how to build a career in the same. Now, what exactly you'll be learning? You'll be learning basics. As I mentioned, foundation is very important. So Lawctopus Law School, all the courses, doesn't matter this course or any other course, foundation of the course is created well. You will be also learning about trademark, copyrights, patents separately. There'll be also a lot of learning about drafting, how do you apply for IPR in India. And guys, doesn't matter I'm talking about IPR course or technology law course, we have industry experts as faculty for you. Yes. So you will be basically real time engaging with these experts who are actually practicing in this space. You will also learn how to build a career in this space. You'll also understand what is the role of IPR in NFT. How can you give consultancy in IPR? Guys, honestly, intellectual property rights, the basics are same all over the world. So I generally motivate all my students to develop career outside India as well. Whether it's consultancy, whether it's freelancing, it's very important. All right. Awesome. So guys, next. So guys, mode of learning, everything will be online, digital. Hence, the live sessions will be done by the experts, and there will be one live session every week, about 8 to 9 live sessions for every course. There, we have 8 to 9 text-based modules as well. They will be reading resources as well that have been prepared by seasoned experts in the industry. So guys, there will be one assignment as well. You will be getting a completion certificate, but if you perform well in that assignment, you will get a merit certificate as well. I personally do a career planning session for the technology law course, meaning what next? How can you, practically apply this knowledge? So whether it's IPR course, whether it's technology law course, they both are different. However, they both are unique. But the best part is that the IPR course, if you're interested, the course has already been started. So guys, basically, I'm going to share an expression of interest form with you. All you have to do is simply fill the form right now. I'll share the link in the chat box. You can take 2 minutes, 3 minutes while we start the Q&A session. Just fill the EOI form, pick which course do you want to do. If you want to do both the courses, I mean, that's too much. I suggest just pick one course and maybe the next course you can pick for the next batch. Even if you're interested for both the courses, guys, when you're done with this, trust me, your chances of elevating your career increases. So I suggest, whether you are a recent graduate, maybe you're in a third year of law school, maybe it's been a while that you graduated, you must think about doing these courses. So Pranjali, so basically, guys, the live classes are structured in a way that each and every live session is recorded. Meaning, if you have a if you have a lecture, if you are on an internship, if you're with your friends, that's fine. You can miss the live session and watch the recording later. So for every live session, we record each and every session. So once you're watching the recording, let's say you have a doubt, you're free to send your queries on the discussion portal. So it's fine if you're not able to watch the live session, you can still ask your queries. We're here for you. I mean, I personally make sure that all the queries of the learners in the courses are dealt well, and so are, this is what the basics of Lawctopus Law School is, that we're not just, we have created the course and done, we're not going to help you. It's not like that. It's not very artificial. Everything is very, there's a lot of personal touch. We have WhatsApp group. I will be emailing you. There's a lot of interaction between the learning manager, that will be me, and the learners. If you have a query, you have a doubt, we have discussion forums, we have a tech team, we have a warm and caring learning experience for you. However, now this is the surprise. So all of you who are in this webinar today, you can take the screenshot right now. You get discount of 15%. That is valid up until midnight today. So when you are enrolling for the course, all you have to do is type in NFT 15. I have mentioned a gap here. You don't have to mention a gap. So when you're enrolling for the course, instead in place of a coupon code, just put NFT 15. And if you're not ready today, guys, to avail scholarship, I will still suggest you to fill the expression of interest form that I will be sharing now. But, and then now for all those who want to understand the webinar, if you want webinar for this certificate for this particular webinar, you can pay a logistic fee of 100 rupees. I'll share the link in the chat box as well. But the certification generation code is NFT Lawctopus. You can take a screenshot, guys. I'll wait a second here. So this is basically all the instructions for the webinar certificate. I'll share the link on the chat box. Guys, basically, I'll create a Google Doc, and all those who fill the EOI forms, along with the resources that Mr. Chandan has touched upon during the webinar, I'll share the resources with you. I'll share the course link with you, plus the webinar registration, webinar certificate registration link with you, and also the coupon code. So all the resources which I'm seeing right now, I know few of you must be thinking that that's so much of information. But guys, everything what I just said, I'll structure it in a Google Doc and I'll share it by Monday with you all. But make sure you fill the EOI form, which I'm going to put on the chat box right after this. And that's it. I can see there are a lot of queries on the chat box, guys. So guys, generally certificates are shared in 6 to 7 days. But as I mentioned again, if you are enrolling either for the IPR course or the technology law course, use the code NFT15. Just take a screenshot again if you missed it out. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much, for staying tight and bearing with me. I will share all what I just said. I'll share the expression of interest form here. Meanwhile, Chandan, you can start taking the Q&A. You can check the Q&A box and start taking the questions.
Okay, perfect. I think the network connection is a little stable. Okay, so the first question is, can we able to find whether the NFT created is copy? Of course, you can do that. You can do it by verifying the metadata of an NFT. There is a very detailed procedure regarding it, and it's a little confidential. I may not be able to share it with you guys right now. But yes, of course, you can find it. You can check the metadata of any NFT which you are wanting to buy. That is a part of doing your own research. Do read what are the vision structure of the NFT founders, who are the NFT founders, what project they have, what are the utility aspects of it. That is also going to help you in ascertaining whether this NFT is a genuine NFT or this platform is a genuine platform or not, before you really invest something in the NFT. Scope of IPR in India, the scope is, I mean, it's huge. Tech laws coming into space, Web3, other forms of tech, fintech, all these things will, of course, enlarge the scope of IPR in India. If you're particularly talking about NFTs and IPR, then the scope is not, it's expanding. We haven't seen any huge NFT platform or any creator directly coming in and asking us, or any other platform for having their rights and obligations written down, codified into a written language. We haven't seen it so far, but it may have been happening. IPR advocacy in India, when compared to US, it is low. If you're only talking about NFTs or the Web3 industry, but we are at par if you're talking about just IPR advocacy in India when compared to US. We are at par with them, or maybe in terms better in compared to US, because our law is huge and it's beautiful. Just if anybody lives in Delhi and they want to come to the Delhi High Court, do visit the IPR bench and see the amazing work that they do. What rights do buyers of NFT will have on the NFT? I've already explained this one. The rights that they have is either ownership of the particular NFT or the underlying copyright, which have to be specified either in form of a written agreement, or it has to be in the smart contract supplemented by a written agreement. Written agreement in place, though it has not been, it has been included in the smart contract. Yes, to a certain extent. I'm asking it because once you codify anything into a smart contracts and something unforeseen arises in the future, which the smart contract is not able to, adjudge, or basically a computer cannot decipher, written regulations will enable you to exert your rights or exert your obligations if any time that reaches to a court or before the arbitration. So understand this thing that in the Web3 domain, more than litigation, what we are about to see is rising cases of arbitration, because nobody will want to go and litigate a case before some court in Chennai. So it will be better if the borderless stuff become. Since it is borderless and different litigation and different courts have different jurisdictions, so we might see that increasing arbitrations when we are talking about the Web3 space. Nothing specific for other states, it is only the jurisdictional issue. Is the smart contract auto-generated? As I said, written agreement should be preferred. Is it? Yes. Smart contract is not auto-generated. You code a smart contract. Basically, it's a computer code. There are engineers who sit, who design that particular smart contract, who incorporate all the basic details. Like I explained, the logic behind a vending machine. Put a 10 rupee note and you get similar value, similar good for that 10 rupee. Somebody might have coded that particular thing into the vending machine. It's something similar, which happens with the smart contract in NFTs. If a pertinent person alters the network, erasing something, adding something, yes, you see, it is not very easy to alter a network. It's, 95% impossible to alter a network or on a blockchain. It is not possible unless and until you are an expert hacker. Open source material can be easily tampered with. Open source material can be easily tampered. The underlying asset cannot be tampered. Of course, it cannot be tampered. But if you are saying that if something is on the chain and somebody can go and alter it, nobody can do that. It's next to impossible.
So, Chandan,
Yes.
I think we have an amazing question from an anonymous attendee, which I think you should definitely answer. So, the question is, it would be great if
Okay.
Mr. Goswami could share some of his experiences as a technology lawyer. I really like this
Specifically, what
question.
kind of issues would his clients generally face related to NFTs? Okay, it's an amazing question. So my experience with the clients is basically drafting all the legal agreements. Where did the question go? Yeah. Did the question is? I can't see the question anymore.
Okay, I'll take the question for you. Just give me a second. Okay. So one question. So guys, since we're running out of time, so Chandan, do you have 5 more minutes or should we wrap up?
We, we have a lot of time. I may have to go somewhere. I can just take this question and then we can wrap it up. Huh?
So let's take one last question. Okay.
Yes, please.
I'll see the best question here. Okay. So one question is from Lakshi. We know copyrighted work cannot be sold as NFT, but what if someone bought an NFT for an artwork and no one gets it copyrighted? Will copyright recognition be required separately by the owner?
Okay, it's a very good question. So whenever you create an original art form, automatically you get the ownership of that particular art form. So even if you do not go ahead and get it copyrighted, you still have your natural rights as a creator of that document or that particular artwork. So if tomorrow somebody goes and somebody steals it, or somebody makes something out of it and puts it on a platform, the person who has originally created that art form can go ahead and state that this is my creation. You cannot go ahead and sell it and commercialize it. For example, take any if you guys go to these Pragati Maidan mein or anywhere, Hunar Haat events, etc., there are a lot of tribal artists who come and they have beautiful, beautiful paintings. So not all the tribal artists go and get their paintings copyrighted, but it is their original art form. If tomorrow you just click a picture of their art form and post it as your own, somebody, if the tribal artist gets to know and if they have a legal backup, good legal backup, of course, you can be prosecuted for that. So I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chandan, for today. And guys, thank you so much for joining with us today. And thank you for those of you watching this in future. I mean, who knows, few years down the line, this might be super, super relevant for everywhere, in the law schools. And we hope that technology law can pace up in the law schools as well. But meanwhile, you can enroll for the course with the Lawctopus Law School. And of course, thank you so much, Chandan, for giving us your super,
Thank
super
you so
valuable
much.
time. It's a Saturday evening,
Thank you
and
so
I
much.
hope
Thank you so much for having me.
great.
And thank you to all the participants who stayed throughout. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much, Chandan. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great weekend. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Good night. See you.